Podcast by Friday, episode 52. And he launched his podcast. Now he has two. But, he hadn't never podcasted prior to that. So, he's one of our success stories. And now he's calling me out to do something new. I don't know what that something is. I've got until...
Podcast by Friday with Bill Griggs and Kingsley Grant. We help people to create their minimal viable podcast by taking bold action to defeat procrastination and to get their voices heard.
I'm Kingsley Grant.
And I'm Bill Griggs.
And thank you for taking the time to join us today on this episode of Podcast by Friday. We're truly grateful for you and actually spending time with us. And today we are going to be talking about something that I believe is it may sound a bit different from our normal episodes because we're going to talk about what can be. And maybe you are not at the point yet that this conversation maybe fit in, meaning that you're still in the transition of moving your blog into a podcast setting. And so you want to do that. And we're all about the minimum viable product, the minimum viable podcast, the minimum viable step. What is that next first step? And so this might be an episode that you want to listen to because it will kind of provoke you and to think about what can be and what should be in your podcast journey. So we're going to talk about funnels. Yes, funnels. Now, you may have already done that in blogging, but we're going to introduce ClickFunnels because Bill is currently doing that challenge. And boy, oh boy, do we have something to talk to you about as he shares what it has been like for him. So stay tuned. This is episode number 52, and we're going to cover a whole lot. So, my friend, you are here, the right time, the right place, and at the right moment. Here we go. Hey, Bill, how's it going? It's great once again to get the chance to do a podcast episode with you, man.
Oh, doing wonderful, Kingsley. I really enjoy getting together with you to talk about podcasting and how bloggers can change their content into podcast in 7 days.
Yeah, and as we have stated before, this is one way to help them to rapidly grow their audience, increase their influence, and monetize their work. And this is why I'm so excited about this show, because we have a show for you.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, this is kind of an unusual show for us. And, we're covering a lot of ground here today. And it's really interesting. Sometimes you don't realize just how much your actions can affect others and the lives of others. And we're going to start out with a brief success story from one of our listeners. And then we're going to tell you about something that is really exciting and really new and really has blown my mind wide open. And I think you're going to enjoy this episode.
Yeah, I think the story that you're sharing, Bill, is about a challenge. And in this show that we were recording today have to do with challenges of some kind. And as you listen, you'll find out what that is.
Fantastic. I have a good friend, Calvin P. Ringgold, and Calvin is admirable in so many ways. He's been blogging for well over 10 years. Every single day, this man puts out a blog post to his listeners. He calls it Vitamin K, and it's your daily dose of positive. He's very much into mindset, and we'll discuss mindset in the show today. I just recently had a conversation with Calvin, and he said, "Hey, did you read my post today?" And I hadn't read the post yet, and so he let it he let it sit for a bit, and then he called me back the following day. He said, "Did you read the post from yesterday?" And I said, "Oh, no, I didn't get to it, but then I did. I got to it, and I went and I looked up the post, and this is what the post said. I've been thinking is the title. And he starts out, "Good morning, my awesome friend. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Calvin P. Ringgold here, Prince of Positive, the Oracle of Optimism, coming to you live from lovable Liverpool, New York, where we're not a radio station, but one day we could be." He says, "When I was a kid, Bill, I used to dream about being a radio DJ. I never really got into radio, but 2.5 years ago, my relatively new friend, Bill Griggs, were sitting at breakfast, and Bill said, 'Hey, what are you doing next Friday?' And I said, 'Oh, I don't know. Why?' And he said, 'I challenge you to launch a podcast by next Friday.' I said, 'I don't know the first thing about doing that,' he said. He says, 'Well, I do. It's really easy, and this is all you need to do.' And 10 days later, on September 4th, 2015, I launched my first podcast. Not quite the DJ gig I dreamed of. Or is it? So I've been thinking, Bill, maybe you have something you've been wanting to do that's well within your abilities that you haven't put together just because maybe a friend hasn't challenged you yet. Maybe you think whatever it is needs to be really grandiose. It doesn't. And who knows what mountains you're thinking you have to climb to put it in motion. You don't. Truth is, it can really take very little. So, what can you start by next Friday, Bill, that will jumpstart your dream? It doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be started. One customer, heck, maybe just one postcard telling one person that you're really that you're ready for a customer. What single step can qualify as starting on your race, your journey? What's one step? I challenge you, Bill, to just take one definitive step. I don't know what it is, but call me, write me, or we can talk about it. The journey of 1,000 miles, my friend, starts with a single step, and when you take that step, we will all celebrate with you. Next Friday, the 13th. I'm excited, looking forward to your news. And by the way, if you haven't listened to episode number 1 of the Intensely Positive podcast, check it out. You may find it helpful. Have a successful day, winner. I'll hear from you tomorrow, Calvin P. Ringgold." Yep. He's directly calling me out, so. But it was in a nice way. It was kind of sandwiched in with a, "Hey, here's my story. This happened." And kind of cool.
That email was directly to you, not necessarily not to the whole group.
No, I believe it inserted the person's name. So if he had been on the mailing list, it would say Kingsley.
Okay, all right. So I thought maybe he had sent an email to you because he mentioned about podcasting.
Yeah, no, this was directed at me.
Oh, okay.
But he inserted everybody else's name in there to challenge them to do something.
Okay, I got you.
But yeah, it's pretty nice.
But that email was sent when?
The 6th.
So he's referencing 2015.
That's when he started his podcast.
Oh, okay.
When I challenged him.
I got you.
Yeah. So back in the day, I was high on the juices of podcasting. I had just had my successful launch of my podcast in 7 days. I was feeling good, and I said, "Hey, what are you doing next Friday?" And he says, "I don't know." I says, "I challenge you." And, he took the challenge, and he launched his podcast. Now he has 2. But
oh, really?
Yeah, he hadn't never podcasted prior to that. So he's one of our success stories, and now he's calling me out to do something new. I don't know what that something is. I got until. Wow, Kingsley, you just never know how a challenge can affect and change your life, and is an agent for really fast change.
As I just heard when you read that post from Calvin, how that challenge went, and who would have thought?
Yeah. That brings me to a challenge that I'm going through right now, and that I'm really super excited about. But I think I'm going to have you wait, because we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my mind right now that I'm going through, and I want to share that with you. I'm very happy with the progress that I've been making in this last few weeks with the One Funnel Away challenge that I'm taking, and Russell Brunson and Steve Larson, they're blowing my mind every day, exposing me to things that I thought I knew about, that I find I only knew the topic of it. I didn't know the details or the nitty gritty and what was making things work. So this has been one of the most impressive experiences I've had in a while, taking this spending $100 to take the 30-day challenge. Really, really, really good. But one book that I read recently, that I'm always talking about, is The Answer, and it talks about the power of positive thinking and how things are connected, and it kind of explains a little of the science that may explain how it works. It talks about quantum states and things like that, quantum entanglement, where 2 things at a distance can still be connected and affect each other. It's been proven scientifically. And so, the real thought is that with the right amount of emotion, the right amount of concentration, the clear thought of what it is that you want, you can cause things to happen. And, I've been very, very much wanting to do some, this is my long way of getting around to what I was talking about, very much wanting to do some freelancing using my computer drafting skills and my CNC skills. And, starting to actually do that, design work for people and getting paid, or maybe some blog writing and everything. So I signed up for Upwork, which used to be Odesk, and before that it was something else. I can't remember what the other name of it is. But it's, it's a marketplace for freelancers, right? So I've been on there about a month, and, nothing was happening. I was applying for these jobs and things, and nothing. And, I'd get a response or 2 from people, but then they weren't hiring me for a reason. And then a dam broke. 3 jobs in 3 days, 3 paychecks in 3 days, for doing CAD stuff that I could do in, that maybe nobody else could do very quickly, but I could do in my sleep. So, one job, my first job, the guy signed me up, told me what he wanted. I had a little brief discussion with him online, and then went out and started doing it. And he says, well, how long will it take you to do this? And I said, about a week. He says, okay, great. Well, I finished it in 2 days and sent it to him. So he was so happy that he sent me a 50% tip.
Wow.
I could not believe that. I was expecting, to make, whatever. In this case, I'm going to be transparent. It was $100 for this particular job. And he sent me $150. It just blew me away.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So right after I finished that, another guy calls up, and he asked me to help him with his sign, to lay out the toolpaths for that. So, $200 later, boom, that's done in a day or so. And then another guy, while I was working on that sign, hits me up and asks me to do a longer term project with multiple things. We're still negotiating. This is ridiculous. I mean, and I can't predict that that's going to happen, but it is.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah. So, I just got to think, if you put out the thoughts of what you want specifically, it'll start showing up. Now I just need to be a little more clear on what I want to get from the One Funnel Away Challenge and from this podcasting thing, because I want to build a funnel for our podcast to launch a course, to help other people get going in 7 days. Because we've done it. We've helped others do it. But but we should have a more, an easier form, because our 7 days might not be their 7 days, and it would be nice if we had it ahead of time ready for them to roll. And I think that's something that we could and should do.
Yeah, and I think the funnel is the way to go at this point. I mean, especially since you've gotten so much clearer on how a funnel works, how it's done. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, one of the advantages of being able to put that together. Because some people don't even have a clue when they hear the word funnel, what that means, or basically how that works,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very strange. Now, I've been in internet marketing since the 90s, with a website where I, sold some things, and income comes in from that. But it was never a systematic approach of, how, what's the process that you should take your customer through that helps them make the decisions quicker, and, in a more educated way. That's a funnel. And I never really got that until, till now. So it's been very helpful. I'm not going to become the funnel evangelist or anything, but I do realize that many people that we already know and that we respect and that we like are using funnels. I mean, John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire. He's one of the most prolific funnel builders in the podcasting world. Tony Robbins is a funnel, has funnels on there. Grant Cardone, Cliff Ravenscraft, Pat Flynn. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. What was I missing? It's like,
I guess some people think that funnel is for the person that really is, doing big things. They have been in it for some time. They have a system, not only not a system, but they have the products. They have a name. They have, they are movers and shakers. And sometimes when I thought about funnels way back when, before I got a chance to know a little bit more than I knew then, I never even thought a funnel was something that I even needed to think about at that point, because it wasn't for me in my mind. It's for the people who are actually having a business that's running, and they're making money and that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's. I had the same thought. I mean, everybody kept mentioning it. They said, "Well, what step is this person in the funnel?" Blah blah blah. Funnel. And I was like, "What the heck is a funnel? And do I really need one?" They keep telling me I need an email list, and I'm like, "Do I really need one?" They keep all of this, all these things, and I was resisting that. And every time you hear somebody who's more successful than you talking about one facet of whatever their operation is that they do with as much enthusiasm as they talk about the funnel, and like it's an essential ingredient, like adding sugar to a cake, you gotta stop and pay attention, and I kick myself for waiting this long to actually make a study of what the heck it is.
But as a thing, though, you just don't know what you don't know until you do know what you did not know, right? And sometimes you were maybe not ready yet. I mean, because I find that my mindset and my overall psyche wasn't prepared to even entertain the thought of a funnel. So I've heard it, and you can have told me about it 100 times, but it didn't move the needle for me because I wasn't ready. And I think until the person is ready, no matter what you do, that is going to make a difference. And I find that even people who are doing blogging, for example, they're thinking that, well, why do I need a funnel? I mean, what would a funnel be? Sometimes I'm not sure they can make the connection and connect the dots.
Yeah.
About how do I transition? Why would I even at this point need one?
Well, the real truth of the situation is that most people have parts of a funnel in place already. They just never thought about it. The difference, for me coming and looking at this funnel building thing was it actually forced me to think about my business from start to finish. Okay, how does somebody find out about Podcast by Friday or CNC router tips or, anything that I'm doing? So they somehow either come to me through an ad that I placed or through organic search in Google, or a friend recommended them. However they discovered me, doesn't really matter. Once they discover me, they have to have a clear path to follow to find my stuff. Maybe they need to know, hey, would you like to hear our latest episode? Click this button and it'll take you to the latest episode. That could be the beginning of a funnel. Or, we have one of the things that we have on our web site, Kingsley, on podcastbyfriday.com, is 3 microphones that we use that, cost less than $110 to buy all 3 of them, included all 3 of them. And they will hit every single need that you have in your podcasting. One microphone is the one that we're using right now, the ATR 2100 for studio work. There's another one that's a lavalier. It's a little one microphone that you put on your collar and people listen to what you're saying. And another one is a shotgun mic that you can use for far away or outdoor things, that's very directional. Okay, so we got those 3 things. Well, people can find out about them through our funnel. So, we could post a link that said, hey, if you'd like to know about the 3 microphones that you think that we think that everybody should have in their toolbox as a podcaster, click this button and it'll take them to show them where to buy those things on Amazon. We don't carry those mics,
Yeah.
But that could be the beginning of a funnel. That's, somebody goes in there and, oh, by the way, give us your email and we'll send you more information when we find out about the mixer. Or maybe you want to launch your own podcast and don't know where to start. Maybe you should look at our ebook about that, And, it progresses from there. Maybe from an ebook they decide maybe they want to watch our video course. Or from the video course, maybe they want to come to our live event. Or, whatever that is, we've got to think about what it is ahead of time that we would like. And, provide a logical sequence and make it easy for people to do that. That's what a funnel is.
And I think that one of the, what you said, and all of this is predicated upon, was that you recognized that you had a business. You were in business. I think some people, sometimes, including myself, there was a time that I never associated what I was doing as being in business. You would ask me and I would be like, no, I'm just doing this. And because somehow it seemed like, it was so far-fetched to think that what I'm doing online, writing the blog, posting things here, inviting people to read and so on, that how could that be a business? Almost felt like a hobby. And so I find sometimes bloggers, they see it, they haven't transitioned in their mind to when you said earlier about the CNC router and your other business. that you had at that point realized you were in business. You were, you may not have had all the systems in place. You may not have had a funnel, but your mind was, I'm in business. It's only now to figure out how to get people to come to your business and do business with you. Because you already created the know, like, and trust factor, because through your blogs and the other things you had, people got to know you. So you had a chance to basically already establish that. And I think bloggers on a whole have also established the know, like, and trust factor in what they've been doing. But I think one of the big thing is what you mentioned is possibly begin to realize I am in business. I have a business. I'm running a business. And when you start thinking that way, I think that's a game changer when you now begin to think of funnel, and it becomes like, hello, of course I got to have a funnel because I'm in business.
Yeah, it's funny. We initially set out to start talking about mindset today, and we're talking about a funnel, and the truth is, it's all about the mindset. Because until you make that conscious decision, or you start thinking like an entrepreneur in your blogging and in your podcasting, you're going to have just an expensive hobby that's sitting there not generating anything. And there are expenses in blogging. There are expenses in podcasting that you need to be thinking about. And yes, you could make a living doing this sort of thing, and the sooner you set your goals, and the sooner you realize that you need to put basic tools in place, the better for you as an individual. I mean, this is just straight up talk from two guys who've been plugging away at this for a few years. When we changed our mindset and we changed the way we began to think about our podcast as a business, everything changed. Everything got better. Everything got more focused, more intent. I don't know. That's the way I feel. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's I believe is a starting place, because as I mentioned before, which I find to be true, if you speak to the average blogger and ask, do you have a business? And they were saying, well, I blog, and somehow making that shift. And I'm not sure if until that happened, even thinking of a funnel is going to make sense. Because why would you have a funnel? To what? To do what? It's not just have a funnel for funnel's sake. It's going to drive that person to something that you have. Yeah. And I think the most important thing, I believe, is to accept the fact and realize that you're not just doing this as a hobby. You could do a lot more things, and your time is valuable. You're putting content out which is helpful to people and is impacting people's lives. That's what business do, right? Business impact people's lives in some way or the other. And I think somehow it's making that transition. And until I did, like you described earlier, I basically was just doing stuff, and sometimes I ask myself the question, to what end? What's the purpose? I mean, I have a life to live. I have everything else, and I have to be hustling and working hard. But yet I wanted to do this thing called blogging and online marketing and online business and all that stuff. But I think then that's why I believe until that mindset was changed and I really, really grabbed hold of that, that's when I think it started clicking why I have a funnel. I think of it this way. When I go to the mall, and, it may not be as clean as a funnel as you described earlier, but I walk by the food court, for example, and I think about that person who is out there. Basically, is a funnel, right? They're trying to get my attention, number one, and they get my attention by raising their hand, holding a little piece of chicken on that toothpick up in the air. So immediately, right? They caught my attention right away. So
Not the bourbon chicken, right? Oh,
yeah,
bourbon chicken. Yeah,
that bourbon chicken, and I'm smelling. So all the senses have now been activated, and so they got my attention. I'm drawn to that. My feet just take me whether I want to go or not, and I find myself savoring and tasting that piece of chicken. Mm-hmm. And so I'm now in their funnel because they got my attention. I've tasted the chicken, and I'm now looking over into what do I want. And now someone come and ask me, do I want, which one of these do I want? And I say, okay, well, I have that. Oh, do you want with this rice and that? And they added all the things to that, right? So you want to add, and they get to the cashier, and after you are about to pay, they're saying, oh, do you want drink with that? What size do you want? and so now they're upselling me to something else. So really, it's a funnel at work in a sense. So I think of the person who is a blogger, and you're catching someone's attention, and they come over to now want to savor what you have. Well, you have to then begin to give them that meal and then upsell them to something else. And what better way to do that than if you have a system in place that helps you make it much easier, smoother, to get the person to where you want to get them.
I want some bourbon chicken right now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start your what your appetite and trigger all that in place.
Yeah, I'm like Pavlov's podcaster right now, just drooling thinking about the bourbon chicken. But it's a perfect example of a funnel. How the first offer gets you in there. The squeeze page, as they call it. Where he's handing you the toothpick. He got your attention. He got your attention for a second. He hooked you. Mm-hmm. And then the story
was right there.
Oh yeah, the story is, hey, try. This chicken is the coolest chicken you ever had. Here, it's so good. Here, just take it to taste, and you eat it, and in your mouth explodes with that glorious flavor, and you're like, ooh, yeah. I'm forgetting all about that burger I was thinking about just a second ago. This bourbon chicken was really good, and they're like, oh yeah, we got a special, come on over, and and they show you the chicken, and you can get rice with it, or you can get whatever it is, and they're constantly moving you along this line.
Yeah, and I think part of the story is being confirmed by all the people who are around, and they're basically saying, look, you're not the only one. Other people around you are enjoying this, and you're seeing the testimonial, so to speak, of these people who are also buying and enjoying that chicken, and they're making certain you're seeing them because you're not going to miss that part, right? So we see the whole thing at work in living color right there. Sure.
So, you give an example for a blogger that was very good, Kingsley, about it. A blogger writes an article, and at its root, an article is an introduction or a way to get somebody's attention, and at the top of that blog post is usually a headline, okay? And that headline is the hook. That's what gets people's attention, makes them stop scrolling for just a second. Just like somebody standing with a toothpick full of chicken in front of you just stops and gets your attention, and that's the hook. A great lead in. And from that, you get stopped long enough to start reading, and once you start reading, you progress into the mouth of the funnel for your blog. Or for your episode. Maybe that results in the next step of having them go to listen to an in-depth episode of your podcast. Maybe it has them signing up for your email list, because let's face it, the email list is everything right now in a business. I didn't believe that initially, but I do now. Okay. But in each phase of this, it's another opportunity for you to interact with your audience. And the main purpose is to crush a false belief that they may have. Or, you're not going to change someone's mind who is unwilling. But the person who is seeking new thoughts and new experiences, you can change their mind. But usually it's by pointing out something that they thought was true or they thought applied to them that really didn't, a false belief. And that's the real secret of all of this, because once you can get at somebody's fear, somebody's problem, and come up with a solution, they are a fan for life, basically.
Yeah, and once you have them there, and again, go back to the food court idea. When I go back to the mall and haven't tasted that chicken from that one particular place, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to go back there. I now know how it tastes, and that person who have got that person into their funnel and their email list, they basically have said, hey, you know what? I believe in you. There's something about what you have presented that have made me think, you're my kind of guy. You're my kind of girl. So I'm going to stay with you. And so basically they, in a sense, have done business with you the first time. And once they've done that business transaction by signing up for your email list or whatever that was, they will be more than likely willing to do it a second time and a third time and so on.
Yeah, this reminds me of something that I received in the email just the other day that really brought the point home to me that you never know what the initial contact with someone will result in, and somebody will go ahead and follow you if you give them complete instructions on how to do something. You make it easy for them, and you show them the way to do it the way that you did it, so that it's not rocket science. So whenever you can break something down to that level and to help people and to eliminate their fears and to help them when they're stuck, you've got it. You've got it. You've got something of value for them, and can really help you.
Yeah, because you've solved a, like I said, a problem. You've stopped a pain, and you've now served as the person that when they were in need, you came to their rescue in some regards. And I think that person is now all ears, all in. Now, I wonder, though, Bill, for example, because you have been doing a little more funnel kind of work, that person who may be thinking, well, okay, I get them in my email list and I have them there, but I don't know what my next step might be. And I find that was true for me. I get hung up on, okay, so now what do I do with them? And I spent a lot of time and sometimes did nothing. I froze because I didn't know what else to do with them.
Sure. I've been there, done that. Well, the thing to do is to start a communication, start a friendship, find out what it is that what their issues are, what their problems are, what it is that's stopping them right now from achieving what it is that they want. And if you have a solution or you have something that'll help them along their path, then you should help them with that, and you should offer it. It's funny because your audience tells you what you need, just by the responses that you get. I know sometimes as a blogger or as a podcaster, you don't get responses that you see every day, but you do come across people in social media, and when you got a fan, you know it because that fan will will respond or say something to you. I'm constantly surprised and amazed when somebody talks about something, especially when it's a friend, because you're never a hero in your own town. You think, you perceive, but you don't know the effect you have on somebody. So
True.
The thing is, you've got to go and take them to the next step. You've been down the road, the next thing that will help them to grow.
I find that, Bill, to be so, which is, you said earlier that the audience will tell you what they want, right? Because you're in communication, you're building a relationship with them. One of the things I find, I'm in the throw right now, my new book, The Emo Intelligent Leader, Succeed Where Others Have Failed. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I've talked about in that book is the idea of how, leadership is relationship, and how you build relationship with people, because what happened is that is what is going to make a difference. It's harder to do business with someone you don't have a relationship with. So even though the person might be a visitor, maybe a person in another country, you never met them, but they feel like they know you mm-hmm. because they've listened to you, they've read your work, and they feel like, I know this guy, I know this girl. It's almost like they've met you before, right? So that's the relationship you're building. You're nurturing that relationship. You're showing them that you're putting their interest at the forefront of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And so you're speaking to them. And I find sometimes people will advocate for you, or they'll rally behind you. Because you've now made them feel special, right? So going back to the funnel idea, though, Bill, as in the relationship building, is that something you're saying would be part of the funnel, where you could actually use the funnel to seek out and interact with your people to ask them about what is it that they might want further from you? Or
absolutely. Absolutely. One thing, and for our listeners out there, we're talking a lot about funnels. I will provide you with the link where you can find out more about funnels at this episode. But to answer Kingsley's question directly, yes, the funnel allows you to build that relationship, because it is the glue that holds together your entire business operation, because a key part of a funnel comes from your email list. The people that have come into your sphere of influence and have raised their hand and said, yeah, I'd like to know more. Or, yes, I'd like that free checklist that you talked about, how to, get my mindset right, or how to launch my podcast in 7 days, or whatever your thing is. Maybe you're into health and fitness, and the 5 exercises that really help change your glutes or something. I don't know. Whatever that thing is, you now have the opportunity to send them an email. This is why your list is important. And through the email, you help build a relationship. And I suggest you do it. Gary Vaynerchuk talks in his book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. Yeah. I believe. I think I may have one too many jabs. But
it's jab, 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 right hook.
Yeah. He talks about having the mindset where you're giving your best information away for free. Repeatedly. You're giving. That's what he means by jab, jab, jab. And then the right hook, the offer. What it is that you're offering. So as a new podcaster coming from blogging, I know that you need equipment. Okay, so I will tell you about the equipment for free. I'll show you a list of the things that I need, and that's helpful. You need to know about that. I'll also tell you about the things to avoid. Okay, that's another email that I may send you, or whatever. And I'll tell you, about the different kinds of podcasting, because you probably don't know. Mm-hmm. And you could really use that information, and on and on and on. There are many, many things that we can tell you about without charging you a single penny. That free information, that free flow of information to you, the listener, helps to build your belief and your trust in us that we only give you the best information, that we have your interest at heart. And one of the things that is in your best interest would be to learn how to podcast as quickly as possible to get your minimum viable podcast out there. We've got a solution for that. that's something that once you know us and you listen to us and you know what we're saying is most likely the truth. Okay, that's a very important thing, the trust. Then you might think about taking our course, because before that, we really don't want you to take our course because you haven't done the foundation work, and that's what a funnel will help you do: lay the foundation to get somebody to make an intelligent choice, to take a shortcut to building whatever it is that they're trying to build through your system.
So with that said, Bill, as the funnel is, you're getting the person inside what you just described just now, would that be like the call to action that a person who has a funnel up would have a way to make an offer? So we heard about the hook, we heard about the story. Now, would this be the offer you're describing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At its root, all funnels just have three things in them: the hook, what got your attention; the story, of how you succeeded or how you accomplished something, in the journey you had to go through, and the things you tried that didn't work, and the things you tried that did work. Okay, it's your story, and then you offer them a new opportunity, a new vehicle to look at that will get them to their goal quicker than it would on their own, floundering around, lost in the wilderness. That's the basis of every funnel: the hook, the story, and the offer. And, we try and help you to find that. All of this stuff. Go ahead.
So I'm sorry. So even if they feel as if they don't have a product, just the very fact that you're inviting them into the story, into your world of seeing what it is that you do as a podcaster, for example, that in itself is enough for now, I'm hearing.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I mean, you look at Pat Flynn. We mention Pat all the time because he's one of our role models. He's one of the people that we believe has done something that we never thought about doing before, and he's done it well. Pat's very successful at it. But Pat started as a blogger, moved into podcasting. For the first 3 or 4 years of his business, he didn't even have an email list.
It's true.
And he was making considerable income and everything, but he had never had an email list. And he was just giving his time and his information away for free, and he built a very loyal fan base. I mean, listen to me talking about him now. So you don't have to know what your offer is yet. Just give away good information. The people will become loyal to you. And then when you do figure out what it is that you want to do, what you have, what your secret power is, and how you can help other people use your methods to do something, then you can give them an offer, and they will be likely to accept it because they know you, they like you, and they trust you, and you've been giving them nothing but good information right from the start. That's all it is. That's the magic of the funnel.
That's really good. I like the way that you frame that. So a person now who is listening to this, Bill, and I think you mentioned earlier that one of the things that we were asking them to do as a result of listening to this podcast episode, is basically then to connect with us, but of course to go to where would they want them to go to begin this process, this journey?
Well, it's an interesting question because I know after maybe a year of studying funnels before I even actually went and took action on a funnel, that the quickest action that I could take would be to take the One Funnel Away Challenge. But that might not be the answer for the person who just heard about a funnel today. So I think the place that they should start is by checking out Russell Brunson's book, Expert Secrets. Okay. Very good book. They'll send it to you for free plus shipping. So I think you spent maybe $9 on it, or you can download it from Amazon for about that, or for Kindle or an Audible book. It's a great book. I will provide a link, podcastbyfriday.com/expert secrets. Okay. And you can go there and it'll take you to a link to the book. It's a fantastic book. But if you want to take action right away and get this sales funnel idea in your head right now, then, there's a 30-day intensive course called the One Funnel Away Challenge, where they take you through every step of the thought process that goes behind a funnel, telling you how to tell the story, how to, build a hook, how to compile an offer, all of that together. The One Funnel Away Challenge is fantastic. It's mind-blowing. I'm going through it. Kingsley, you mentioned that you were considering going through it.
Yes, in March.
Yep. Some information on the next one is launching on February 25th. It's not March, like I said. But
okay, but you're going to have the link in that same podcastbyfriday.com/expert secrets, right? Would that be the place that they would find that link if they want to know more about it?
The link for the for the One Funnel Away Challenge would be podcastbyfriday.com/ the letter O, the letter F, the letter A, OFA challenge. Okay. And, they can go there and look at it. I don't usually give people 2 calls to action, but you're going to be able to self-select where you would want to know more information about funnels. Either you want to just read about it or you want to actually do something about it. Those are the 2 choices you have. And either solution works great.
Yeah, I think because we've given them so much information about funnels and the importance of it, and I think with why it's something they want to be thinking about from this, whether they're just getting started or they've been in this journey for some time. I think you've given them some really good resource, and I think having that link available that you have would be great if they want to click on that. But I think it would be very helpful if they follow through on that. So it would, kind of fit the the show itself.
All right, wait. Now, we do these things live, and I'm going to say, stop. I want your attention right now. Here's what I think would be best for our listeners. I'm going to make an offer for you right now. This is kind of, showing you what's in this book. Instead of giving you a choice between those 2 things, I say, why don't you, our listeners, come take the One Funnel Away Challenge with Kingsley and I. It starts on February 25th. If you would like to do that, we'll have a private section around in the Podcast by Friday Facebook group where we're going to discuss and go through this every single day of the challenge to help you make the progress that you need. You're going to get great training in there, but you're also going to have access to either one or both of us during the course of every day of that challenge.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. So if you would like to participate in that, go to podcastbyfriday.com/OFA challenge. Again, that's podcastbyfriday.com/OFA challenge and sign up. Now, it's not free. It's $100 to participate, but it's the best $100 you will ever spend. And it is an affiliate relationship with us. Now, we've talked about affiliate relationships in the past. That's where we get a small commission if you participate. But I think this highly outweighs the value that you're going to get from this course will blow your mind. And I'm in the midst of the course right now, and I'm so hyped about it. Kingsley can't shut me up when we talk about it. But I'm going to go take this course again. I've never paid for a course to take twice, and I'm about to do that. So if you'd like to join us, you have the address, It's podcastbyfriday.com/OFA.com. OFA challenge, excuse me.
It's a podcastbyfriday.com/OFA challenge, all one word.
Yep. And OFA stands for one funnel away, because you're one funnel away from success.
Boom. That's really a great way to wrap this episode, because I think here's an opportunity to really establish the fact that you are in business, and this funnel will kind of confirm for you what it is you have said you are, a business person. So let's do it. Let's make it happen. It's 2019, different year. Let's not end it the same way we end 2018. Let's end it better than we did. And this is your opportunity to make it happen.